Man, it's funny how life can pivot on a single stupid Friday night. We were at our usual haunt, a dive bar with lights low enough to hide your sins and drinks cheap enough to make you commit them. It was the kind of place where celebrations and catastrophes were just part of the ambient noise. My wife Emma was wearing my old university hoodie, the one she always stole from my side of the closet. She looked incredible in it, the way she always did right before she wanted something. I just didn't realize that what she wanted was an exit. The whole thing was a setup, a piece of theater. In a lull between bad jokes and sloshing beer, she cleared her throat with a theatrical flair. Our so called friends, 6 of them, were perched around the table, all half drunk and mid laugh. So, she announced, her voice a little too loud and a little too sharp, I guess now's as good a time as any. The chatter just stopped, dead. I looked over at her, keeping my face a perfect mask of calm, and just waited. Twisting in her seat to face me, a smirk played on her lips. I cheated. The word didn't even sting. It just landed in the air between us, heavy and inert. It was a truth I think my gut had known for months, but my heart had refused to acknowledge. And honestly, she added, doubling down, I needed a real man, not some guy who does tech support and wastes his weekends trying to breathe life into a junker car that'll never run. And then came the laughter. Their laughter. I scanned the faces of our friends, the people I thought were my people, and saw nothing. No shock, no pity, just a knowing glance. They were in on it. No one had my back. Ben, the guy I'd once considered a brother, actually clinked his glass against hers. Damn, girl, that's savage, but honest. I respect it. Maya, who'd cried on my shoulder for a week after her own breakup, just muttered something about how they all saw it coming. Even Chris, who'd crashed on my couch for a month, rent-free, gave me that look, that pathetic, pleading look that says, just take the L and go quietly, dude. So, I did. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't demand an explanation or throw a drink. I didn't give her the dramatic scene she was so obviously craving. I just looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time, I saw right through the performance. I saw the desperate need for validation, the gaping emptiness behind that smug expression, the frantic desire to feel like she'd won something, anything. And then I smiled. A real honest-to-God smile. I tossed my keychain into the air, caught it with a soft jingle. Cool. That was it. I turned on my heel and walked out. I could hear their laughter swell behind me as the door swung shut. A final mocking punctuation mark. But here's the thing they didn't hear. The thing they couldn't possibly comprehend. The sound of a plan clicking into place in my head. I wasn't going to fight for a woman who would humiliate me, or for friends who would applaud her for it. No, I was going to build a man she could never again reach, and a life they could only ever envy from a distance. In the sudden ringing silence of the street, the memories came unbidden. 3 years. That's how long it was since I'd met her in that off-campus coffee shop. She was buried in a copy of The Bell Jar, all black nail polish, and a chipped silver ring on her thumb. I'd asked her about the book. She'd looked up, deadpan, and said, only deeply depressed people read this in public. And then she broke into this incredible smile. That was it for me. We clicked fast, deep, and true. It was all late-night drives with no destination, stupid inside jokes that made no sense to anyone else, falling asleep with her head on my chest in our tiny first apartment, feeling like it was the safest place on earth. You're my peace, she used to tell me, and God help me, I believed her. Those were the good days. She'd bring me lunch when I was working late, call me her anchor when the world felt overwhelming. She'd even sit with me in the garage for hours while I wrenched on that rusted-out '92 Civic, passing me tools and curating playlists. We weren't flashy, we weren't rich, but we were solid. At least that's what I'd thought. The drift when it started was almost imperceptible, a slow erosion. Girls' nights turned into "don't wait up" texts. She stopped visiting me in the garage. She started rolling her eyes whenever I'd get excited about my plans to build my own IT consulting business. You're always chasing these things that take too long, she'd sighed one night. I didn't argue. I figured she was just stressed, burned out from her job. The truth was, she was already auditioning my replacement, a bartender named Caleb, a guy with a six-pack and all the personality of a wet sponge. And my friends, they just shifted their allegiance. Ben started hanging with her more than me. Chris went neutral, which is another word for cowardly. Maya just ghosted me entirely. See, I didn't just lose a wife in that bar. I lost an entire life. And yet, as I stood there on that dark street, something inside me settled. Not rage, not despair, clarity. They didn't betray me because I was weak. They betrayed me because I was quiet, and they mistook my quiet for an inability to respond. They were profoundly, catastrophically wrong. That first night alone in our apartment, well, my apartment now, I guess, I didn't sleep a wink. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, letting the scene from the bar play on a loop. Her smirk, Ben's backslapping laugh, the condescending pity in their eyes. The next morning, I checked my phone. No apologies, just a single group text from Chris. Hey man, hope no hard feelings. Let's all try to be mature about this, right? Mature, right? I shut it all down, deactivated every social media account, blocked their numbers, and performed a digital exorcism, wiping every photo of us from my hard drives. I erased her contact, but I held on to the memory. I used it as fuel. I started small. I emailed an old professor who once told me I had CEO energy. I enrolled in night classes for advanced cybersecurity certifications, and I set my alarm for 5 a.m. and I ran every single day, even when my lungs burned and my legs screamed in protest. I worked 12-hour days, then 14, consulting, freelance gigs, fixing networks for small businesses. I said yes to everything. While they were out drinking and posting selfies, celebrating their vapid lives, I was in the dark building. I was forging a version of myself they wouldn't even recognize. And my wife, Emma, didn't reach out. Not once. She was too busy posting soft focus pictures with Caleb with nauseating captions like, "Love always wins." Cute. We'll see how long love lasts when the thrill fades and the man you threw away isn't behind you anymore. He's laps ahead of you. Work exploded. A freelance gig turned into a retainer, which led to a referral, which led to a major contract. Before I knew it, I'd registered my own LLC and was making more in a month than I used to in a year. The most satisfying growth is the kind no one sees coming. Physically, I was transforming too. I dropped 20 pounds, started lifting heavy, and got a real haircut. I bought clothes that fit, not to impress anyone, but because for the first time, I felt like I was worth the investment. I wasn't posting my progress, but the world started doing it for me. I began appearing in tagged photos from client launches and networking events, and through the weird interconnected web of social media, the ripples found their way back to my old life. The messages started as a trickle, then a stream. Maya. Hey stranger, you look amazing. Hope you're doing well. Ben. Yo, heard you started your own thing? That's wild, man. Respect. Chris. Dude, your company's name came up in a client meeting. LOL. You killing it? I read them all and deleted them without a reply. The man they knew was dead. They had killed him. I had simply buried him. Then came the first sign of a crack in her perfect new world. Emma's posts became less frequent, then stopped. 2 months of silence. Then a blurry Instagram story from a mutual acquaintance's birthday. There she was in the background, sitting alone, looking diminished. No Caleb, no glow, just a woman at the back of a party that used to be hers. I didn't smile or feel a shred of smug satisfaction. I just felt done, detached. And then, on a perfectly ordinary Sunday morning, the dam broke. My phone, which had been blissfully quiet for months, began to light up like a Christmas tree. One call, then another, and another. All told, 32 missed calls in 2 hours. Emma, Ben, even Maya. First, the texts poured in. Emma. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but please, can we talk? Emma. Everything fell apart. I just need 5 minutes. Please. Emma. I messed up so bad. You didn't deserve any of that. I see that now. Then Ben chimed in. The loyal wingman. Ben. Yo, man. For real? I was wrong. We all were. Ben. She told us stuff. Said you weren't treating her right. We didn't know the real story. Funny how they never know the real story until they're no longer invited to the party. Finally, at midnight, came the novel from Emma. Emma. I thought I wanted someone exciting. What I got was someone fake. Caleb left. He cheated on me. He's broke, and now I'm broke. I miss you. God, I miss the life we had. Emma, you were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw you away for a joke. Please just respond. Please. I sat with that one for a while, watching the little typing bubble appear and disappear. The part that got me wasn't the begging. It was a line from a later text that came through while I was thinking, I miss who I was with you. And that was the whole tragedy right there, wasn't it? She didn't just lose me. She lost the version of herself that existed only when I believed in her. And that person was gone forever. I typed my replies slowly. No anger, no theatrics, just absolute, unshakable clarity. Me. You didn't just choose someone else, Emma. You chose to humiliate me. You and our friends made it a public spectacle. When I walked out of that bar, I wasn't just leaving a relationship. I was leaving the person who decided I would never be enough. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. Take care of yourself. Then I blocked her number for the last time and set my phone face down on the nightstand. I didn't wait for a reply. The best kind of revenge isn't about breaking someone else. It's about becoming so unshakably whole that they can't even find a crack to get in, while they are left spinning in a vortex of regret. And you sleep peacefully because victory isn't always a roaring fire. Sometimes it's just the quiet confidence of never, ever looking back.